Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leaps and Bounds podcast. I'm your host, Heath Thorpe, and here we discuss all things life, gymnastics, queer, and whatever we want. I am joined by a very special guest, Morgan Hurd.
Hello.
This is really strange for us because we usually have our FaceTime calls, which admittedly have been less common these days, but I guess that's life, hey?
Because we're adults now.
We're adults and we're trying to manage and juggle life. But anyway, welcome to the podcast. You are my first guest.
I'm so honored.
I thought it was just very fitting. I feel like it's a very full circle moment to my media career, I guess, because a lot of people discovered me through our friendship back in 2018.
That's true.
So it's very nice to have you here. So a lot has happened since our Instagram live era, which would have been COVID, so 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You're in college now. I'm currently living in Belgium.
Did you graduate?
No, I still have not graduated.
Because I was like, wait a minute. I feel like you've been in uni since like 2018. You just never graduated.
Yeah, girl, you're right.
That's okay. That's so real.
I have one subject left, and I just keep pushing it back every time I'm in Europe. I'm like, you know what? I'll do it when I get back to Australia. And now I'm like living here, so I'm like, I'll do it at some point. But yeah, I haven't graduated. For those listening, I'm doing a Bachelor of Communication.
Are you going to graduate before I do? Spring of 2025.
Look, I hope to be graduated by the end of 2024. So I think I should be that. I only have one subject left.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Anyway, okay, so I still haven't graduated. Morgan is more than halfway through her uni degree now.
Mm-hmm.
Catch us up on everything that's happened since 2021, I'm going to say. We'll circle back to that, but can you give a little recap of your experience in NCAA, your injuries, NIL, everything? Just give a quick summary and then we'll pick apart and dive into the deeper topics.
Okay. 2021, didn't make Olympic trials. And then, God, what did I do? Oh, I went on tour. That was super fun. Loved tour. I'm actually getting a bunch of memories from tour right now, and it's kind of making me sad.
What was your favorite memory?
Oh, I don't know. I love traveling. So just being somewhere new every single day was so much fun. I loved getting closer to all the girls, especially Ellie and Melanie. Because they're people that you see once, twice a year. So especially them. And then, a week before I was due to come to college, not only did my car blow, but my knee blew. So that was a fun little duo together.
Yeah, do you want to tell people about that knee specifically? Because I remember when you did it, but do you want to explain to everyone how it happened?
Oh yeah, so I was doing a center layout on me because I was still planning on competing that in college, so there's no elbows. But I landed completely fine, and then my knee just turned in and gave out, and I fell off the beam and sat on the floor. And so I was like, "You good?" I'm like, I might be dramatic, but I feel like my knee just popped. And then I was like, but I'm not really sure. But then one of my teammates, two beams down, she was like, no, I heard your knee pop. I was like, okay, cool. But then I went to a concert in New York the next day. And I just was like, it'll be fine. It's a little stiff, but it's fine. It doesn't hurt or anything. And then on Monday I come in and I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna run. And they're like, no, you need to go to the doctor. I'm like, fine. I'm not really want to go to the doctor at all. So I went to the doctor and got my MRI. They're like, yeah, your ACL is torn. I was like, you're joking. And I came into the gym, I'm crying already. How I saw that. And I was like, oh my God, I have to call Jenny. So I get on the phone with Jenny and immediately she's like, oh my God, we can't wait to have you here. We're so excited. I'm like, okay, I tore my ACL. And she's like, oh. Yeah, I got more imaging once I came to Florida since I was going to do my surgery here. And they were like, oh, all your fibers in your knee are missing. You tore this a while ago. And I was like, oh, and then it clicked. I was like, back in, I think 2020, during the fall, I was training 2.5 punch fronts because I was trying to get rid of the front layout front double. And I hurt my knee because it turned in. And because I thought I hyperextended it, but Slava was standing right in front of me and he was like, no, it turned in. And I couldn't straighten it for a week. And I was already going to the doctor for my elbow. So I got that checked out and they're like, oh, it's just a sprain. I was like, okay. And then a week passed and it was fine. And then I just it never hurt again. And it was completely fine.
Bro, I remember when that happened. I think you sent me the video, and I was like, I think you did your ACL. And you were like, no, 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 it's fine. Like, I've gone and got an x ray. There's nothing. I'm like, yeah, because x ray doesn't show your ACL. And you're like, no, no, it's fine. It's a bit swollen. It was like so puffy. And then, yeah, a week later, you're tumbling. So you competed that elite season with a partially torn ACL.
And did 30 some shows on tour because I tumbled on that show too.
That's wild.
That is wild. I was like, I mean, at least I'm just glad it waited to at least blow like after tour because that would have been really embarrassing if like I tore my ACL during a show. I think I would have
Yeah.
died of embarrassment, honestly.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen because it did look like an amazing tour.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did your ACL, told Jenny, and then you went to college, had your surgery, and then when did
Mhm.
you first compete?
God, I didn't compete until the following season. I competed at our home opener, so like my first meet back was this year. Yeah, this year. So January of 2022, and and then I peeled off the bars.
You did. You really failed, girl. You slipped
That
and
was that was so funny. It's because I failed my half pirouette like 4 different times, but elite mindset, I'm not getting off the bar. My nerve wasn't in the correct place. So in the fall before season, I was in the weight room and I was like doing like overhead presses, not even like with a heavy weight. It was like maybe 15 pounds. And my elbow popped. I was like, wow, that kind of hurt. Like it usually pops, but not like that. And I went to the doctor and he literally just did this. And he was like, "Your nerve popped out of place." I was like, "Oh, so cool." So I couldn't really feel my hands, to be honest, like that entire season, which is why I wasn't really on bars too. Because every day was a toss up if I would stay on the bar or not. So me just adding like 10 casts to my bar routine where I can already barely feel my hand just didn't really fly well with that ending tone.
you and your elbows, man. How many surgeries have you had now?
Oh God, like 10, I think, something like that. 9.
I just feel
Wait,
like there's
8.
not much, there
I
can't
don't
be
know.
much of an elbow left to even perform surgery on.
So there's no cartilage left. Like there's actually no cartilage left in my elbow, like at all. So it's just like bone rubbing on bone. So I just keep getting bone spurs instead. They also had to move my nerve the last surgery into like a correct place so I could feel my hand, which I can now. So that's great.
Horrible. You know what? Well, I'm glad you can feel your hand again, but we need to find people to donate you elbows. Okay, speaking of easy, looking ahead quickly to this season, how's training going? How are you feeling about lineups and I guess your potential to be competing this season?
Training's going really well without kind of giving too much away. Just because I don't even know what I'm doing yet. Like I feel like low key things change for me on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
of like moving skills around and stuff. But of what I have been doing in the past like 2 weeks has been going like super well, making a lot of progress. I feel like super strong. Like honestly, over the summer, I didn't do any gymnastics. I went to like the student rec gym and just like worked out myself there. And I honestly got like so strong like over the summer, like physically fit. Like even Adrian was like, "This is like the fittest I've ever seen you," and I was like, "That's kind of crazy too." But yeah, I feel really good, but I'm not gonna give too much away because it could change too.
It could change, absolutely. But I guess taking that time in the gym over summer, the rec gym, was it a good mental break from gymnastics? Was it something you felt like you needed to do as well as physically?
Yeah, it definitely was because I mean I love training with the team. Like they're so much fun to train with, but from growing up in an environment and being kind of the person that I am. I prefer sometimes to be just like be able to be in my own head and like train by myself, listen to my own music and just kind of like go at my own pace without having like the outside kind of factors, especially like, growing up, I like basically only trained alone. Um, so sometimes it's just like a nice change of pace. So it was nice just like getting to not have to do gymnastics where it wasn't like I fear in the back of my mind or like I really had to focus where this was like something I just like turn my mind off completely and just go do.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it makes total sense as well when you're talking about training by yourself. I know it's a completely different vibe, and it really just comes down to like personal preference. I'm sure the NCAA vibe is a lot of fun, but I can imagine it's also like intense, so it's probably nice to have a little bit of a break from it. But okay, we won't talk too much about the next season then, but it looks like you have a Black Swan floor routine or a bit of it.
I do no, the whole thing is it's the orchestral version of Black Swan. I cut this music on our way to SEC 'cause I was
Oh,
like, "I
girl.
don't wanna start working." I'm ready. When can we choreograph this?"
Do you know what's wild about that? You know how like we would have the conversation about us being twin flames. Have started. This is like on Saturday. Last Saturday I had a competition, and I started listening to Black Swan before my high bar routine
Really?
because one of my new coaches is like basically you need to think of your high bar routine as like rhythmic and violin and fluidity. So I was like, I'm gonna listen to Black Swan, and then you posted that the next day. So our minds.
It's so good. I'm obsessed with this sport routine. I actually choreographed, like, a very large part of it, and J3 kinda just, like, kinda gave me, like, details or, like, guidance. I was like, "This feels strange. What am I doing wrong?" Like, like, because he's, like, someone that's, like, actually watching me versus me just, like, doing it, and I'm like, "This feels wrong, but I don't know what looks wrong," like but so that was, like, super fun. I had already come in with, like, a bunch of different ideas that I came up with, like, over the summer, so it was, like I really love this sport routine, especially because it's, like, literally a piece of me.
Yeah, was that nerve-wracking choreographing your own floor routine, or was it just something you kinda lent into and had fun with?
I feel like it's something I kinda led into and I just had fun with because even my past sport routines, I've been, like, extremely opinionated about, like, what I like, so
Yeah,
it
you
was
have.
almost like I just, like it's al I just, like, fell into the role.
Yeah, okay, I can see it, it's very natural for you. That's a lot of catching up, I guess, in the last 2 years, and we'll try and dig into each bit. Starting off with a little bit more of a down period, we'll get out of the way, but a lot of people have been asking about how you overcame 2021 and when you didn't make Olympic trials after obviously COVID, you had the elbow injuries and, a partially torn ACL without realizing. But you got to nationals and didn't compete as well as you were hoping to, and then consequently didn't make or didn't get selected through to Olympic trials. Do you want to take us through that process and how you found out, and I guess how you felt in that moment? And then we'll get on to moving past that and how it's been since.
Yeah, so, like, going into nationals, already, like, wasn't, like, super confident, and, even Slava knew that, and we had kinda, like, called up and was like, "What should we do in this situation? Like, should we send in routines from home and petition that way, go and compete, like, a watered down, like, guaranteed hit routines, but maybe, like, score lower at nationals or just do 2 events and petition?" And, like, basically, he was like, like, "Come and compete. We know you've been injured. We know what you can do. We know how quick you overcome injury. Like, just come and compete, and like we'll accept your petition." And then, lo and behold, I mean, like I know for a fact that I did not. I mean, I fell 5 times. Got like a 12 on 4. I didn't do nearly up to the standards of a Olympic gymnast or even like really world class gymnast should have done. But I was like, coming off that injury and really just kind of trying to build my confidence. And I had shown in years past that I can completely flop. I mean, take 2017, for example, where I completely flop out of nationals. And then, like, within a few weeks, I turn it all around for myself. And, like, that's kind of something I just need almost to do per year is like flop at least once so that I can do really good later, I guess. It's a terrible way. But yeah, so it was kind of like a really big slap in the face to just not even like have my petition accepted. I would have gone and competed a watered down everything routine with like a layout. I've lost like a layout off everything and hope probably maybe made it to Olympic trials. So that was just really like I didn't get to end my elite career on my own terms. And I think that's what kind of hits me the most. Whereas like if they had accepted my petition to Olympic trials, realistically I would have been like, yeah, I'm not making the Olympics. That's fine. Like I'm not in it where I need to be, but I'm at Olympic trials and I knew that that's how I wanted to close out my career. And the fact that I didn't get to end my elite career on my own terms is just what really like was a big slap in the face essentially. And the fact that he like continuously lied to the media and tried to pin me as like delusional or whatever, and you was just really it was so gross and it made me lose a lot of respect, honestly. Um
Yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking just to watch even from afar. Do you want to give people an insight into, because you didn't even really get official confirmation on the floor? If I remember correctly, they just came up to you and what did they say?
So I think I don't know exactly who because I wasn't like over there at the time, but someone had gone and told Slava, some official, and then Slava came and told me, and he was actually like, because obviously I wasn't getting a medal or anything. He's like, "Do you want to leave? You want to leave right now?" And I was like, "I have to take the world champions photo still." And, like tears are already like starting to. That photo is the worst photo I've ever seen of myself because my face is already so puffy. It's out. It's terrible, but yeah, so I was, trying to be, just I was trying to be there for my friends too. So I just sat and I watched awards, and if you watched Golden on Peacock, you can actually see, like, he's, like, very close to me, like, and I'm, like, so uncomfortably close for someone I'm not close to, especially, like, I'm not a person that likes to be touched unless it's by, like, specific people, and he was, like, on my foot, like, literally, like, right up against me. He was like, oh, what did he say? Like, you'll always be a world champion, and we're so grateful for everything that you've done and all the medals that you've won for Team USA. And he started saying a bunch of other stuff too. And honestly, I just zoned out because I was like, I'm trying not to cry right now. You're on my number one hit list right now. So it was just like, why would you try to talk to me right now? Like that felt so like inconsiderate and just like trying to look like the good guy to the media to me.
Yeah, I think also like a little bit patronizing as well. Like that's not what you want to hear in that moment. Like you want to be away. And I think it should have been dealt with better in the first place. But even if they dealt with it how they did, they should have at least given you that space and time to be by yourself. But yeah, that was horrible. I just remember receiving that call from you and you're like in tears. And I was just like, I was so angry, bro. I was like, I'm going to Twitter, I'm posting this. And I went like, it went off. It went like viral in the gym world in like 10 seconds.
You deleted it like 20 minutes later and said, "I'm deleting Twitter for a week."
Yeah, it was intense. I was just like, I mean, in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have posted it, but at the same time, like, it felt like just an injustice to your career and everything you'd worked for and all the time and effort you'd put in and also everything you'd done for the US program. I was just like gutted for you and it was yeah, a really terrible moment. So I'm sorry you had to go through that because I couldn't
No, I
imagine
mean,
how that would have been.
I just appreciate you being like such a good friend, honestly, in that moment because like it wasn't something that I was going to personally put out, obviously, because it would have made me look like I was making excuses for myself. And that was like the last thing I wanted anyone to see. Like I was going to take it with not a smile, but I was going to take everything with like a straightforward face and just like a looking forward in the head, But I feel like what you did really kind of highlighted the lack of transparency that was within the federation, especially because of what they were saying of how I had to place top three on an event when we were not told that whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I remember even weeks before the trials, I mean, before nationals, you were like, oh, this is what I have to do. This is what I've been told I had to do. And I was like, easy, just go there, compete, like give it a go. As you said, your strategy would have been a whole lot different if there was more transparency and clarity around it. Yeah, you're very much a person that will, I guess, take it as it is and deal with it in a certain way. And I think even you've been a bit foundational to helping me with recent ordeals as well of how to deal with that. So yeah, I guess that's always in your character, but sometimes we need other people to speak up, I guess, for each other.
Right. It's like the thing where you won't tell the waitress that they messed up your food, but you'll tell the waitress that they messed up your friend's food.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very, very true. What was it like the months? And I guess even it hasn't been that long. It's been like 2 years, and I know that feels like a lifetime ago. But like when you've trained your whole life, that's not that long. How are you now about it, and how have you processed that time in your career and how it ended?
Yeah, I actually, I don't know if I like fully did process it. I feel like I just kept moving forward as like, well, it's a thing of the past. Like, there's nothing I can do about it now. Like, yeah, it sucks. Like this in my heart, it felt so unfair, and I really like kind of sat with that for a really long time. I feel like I kept trying to like just ignore it, not necessarily because I didn't want to process it, but because I didn't really have the toolkit of like how to. And I feel like it just kinda, like, escalated with, like, sitting, like, kinda, like, deep in me too, especially because I wasn't competing all season and I was injured, so I was literally just sitting there. I felt like a waste of space, I felt useless, like, I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't getting better, whatever. So it was just, like, overall, it was just such, like, a bad feeling of, like, I didn't even have anything to kinda, like, redeem myself at the time. What my hopes were was like, "Oh, okay, I didn't do that, but let me go have a great college career now." And then immediately, I'm on the sidelines doing nothing. So, I felt like it wasn't something that truly processed until I started doing gymnastics again, and it was like, "Okay, well, that happened." So that's, like, kinda how it feels now, like, yes, it was such a sucky situation, but I also make jokes about it, like, on the daily almost, and it's just that's my form of processing, but then I kinda just, like, pushed myself past that. It was like, "Okay, well, it's time to focus on my gymnastics now, not my gymnastics in the past."
Okay, and what would you say the biggest lesson you learnt from that whole process, I guess, is?
I always knew I was kind of like a resilient person. That's what a lot of people told me. And, like overcoming like a lot of like personal struggles as well as just like gymnastics injuries and such. But I feel like that really showed me just how resilient I actually am because if I can come out of making it a good situation of literally getting my dreams crushed right in front of my eyes, what I worked my entire life for, then God, I can overcome anything, I guess.
Yeah, you're amazing, and I'm always very, very proud of you. So, yeah. Okay, so the down part, that's out the way. We're done with the negativity, but thank you for sharing because I also realized you haven't really like spoken a whole lot about it, so I want to like provide that space for you to
Yeah.
do so.
Thank you. Yeah, I like spoke a lot about it like right after the event happened, which is like good to get kind of your thoughts like in the moment, but also I feel like it's really important to kind of speak on it like even years and years later just to see how you've grown from it.
Okay, so on to the next chapter. You're currently in the next chapter. To answer also a lot of the questions, elite done. I know you've like considered it a few times, at least to me. Where you at with it now?
Okay, so those considerations were like a delusion where I hadn't come back to gymnastics after being injured yet. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do elite.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back and be great. I come back and I'm like, God, this gymnastics got hands, bro. God damn. Like
Yeah.
not a fully strong knee, like nerve out of place. I was just like, yeah. I'm like, I stand on the beam now, and I'm like, God, this is so scary, guys. I was playing around with a different series earlier this semester. I was trying to do standing layout because I can't do a handspring layout because I can't do a handspring because I will just like a single handspring because I will just chuck myself right up the side of the beam. And I'm standing up there trying to go backwards. I'm like, oh my God, I used to do a standing full. I was like, that is crazy. I'm like standing for like my round off, like double full. And I'm like, oh my God, I used to do like a double pike used to be my warm up. How am I at this point right now where I'm standing for a layout? And I'm like, what if I fall?
Once you get out of the elite repetitions and numbers, it's like almost impossible to get back.
Yes, no, I mean, like, I was a gymnast that used to do like 10 to 15 of every single skill every day. God, this is why my body's so messed up, by the way. And now they're like, I get capped at like 5, and I'm like, no, I need to do more. Let me do. This was like a big fight I had. Not like, okay, not like a fight, but I was like, I was pushing their buttons last season. Where in the fall, I was like, no, I need to do more. Like, I haven't done gymnastics in 8 months. You need to let me do this.
Okay, so elite, she's gone. She's out the door. Bye bye. Thank you.
She's gone. I don't think I can get myself to do those skills anymore, even if my body would let me.
Yeah, screw doing like half those skills. I would never do a standing full on a beam. So the fact you ever did it,
I can't believe I ever did that. I'm like, I used to get up and just do it cold, like, because I didn't like warming up. I would warm up when I'm on the floor, and then I would just get up and do it. I'm like, how? How did I do that? That is crazy. I used to do like cold bar routines sometimes with the Komova. That is like that's actually insane. Like my
yeah,
early elite career, I feel like sometimes just needs to be like studied because there was no way I should have been able to do any of that.
bro, Yochenko block for Yochenko doubles. I will forever
What
drag
block?
that. I will forever drag
What
that.
block?
There was no block.
There was no block. One of the hand, one of my hands was off the table.
Horrible. Terrifying.
How did I make that on my feet? There's no way I physically should have been able to make that on my feet.
I don't know either. Actually, speaking of elite skills, what was some that you trained and never competed? Because I feel like a lot of people want to know that.
Oh, I have a whole compilation like really far back on my Instagram. I think when I first came to college. Um, oh, I trained a Navieva and I also did it from a Stalder, and that was like before I had my 4 elbow surgeries before 2021.
It was
I
it was
within the
almost in
span.
full like routines as well.
Oh, yeah, no, I was doing nabs to downy, straight to pack, and I was trying to do my pack straight to a chow, and I was like, because I could get into the solder and stuff, so, like, I was there, and then I had 4 more elbow surgeries, and I wasn't there anymore. But so I had both nabs, I was real because I was like, "I'm gonna get a Hurd. I'm gonna do it." And then but it's fine. I was training front 2 and a halves. I think I competed at, like, some random, like, elite qualifier that I was just, like, practicing at, but I did triples. I've done 3 and a halves. I used to do a running double front when I was really young too, when I was, like, 15. For, like, a hot minute, I did front layout, front double full, front punch tuck full. Obviously, I had the 2 and a half front full, and then I tore my knee on that.
Yeah,
Um
unfortunate.
Yeah. Oh, and I did a TOEFL double double off bars.
Okay, you had a lot of skills, you didn't compete, but that's okay. I feel like that's like most elite gymnasts. It's like people don't understand the difference of having a skill in training to then having it in competition on hard surface under pressure. It's like a whole nother ball game.
Right, exactly.
But one thing about college now that previously wasn't a thing was NIL. Obviously, like for those listening that don't understand, the name, image, and likeness rules now allow for athletes to make money based off their, I guess, their profile and their image. You still can't make money from competing in gymnastics, but it's obviously opened up a whole new avenue for athletes and like specifically like women in sport as well. Do you want to like talk about a little bit about your experience with that and how it's like, I guess, helped you set yourself up a little bit moving forward?
Yeah, it's really great because we can't as like a student athlete, you don't really have like the time or the energy to be able to hold like a regular job to make your income because I mean, yes, so like currently I am on a full ride scholarship, but I still have like other expenses in my life as well as like I need to be saving for like what comes after college because as soon as I would exit college, I need to get my own apartment on my own. I need to get like like jobs don't just come like that as well, especially these days. But so it's like it's just really great as a way for me to be able to earn money, not only like just for myself, but for my future. I feel like it's really well deserved for athletes to be able to earn money now just because like we do kind of like put our face forward a lot for the university. So it's also nice to like kind of get some in return that's just not just towards schooling, but will help set us up for like things after school.
I've always just found it like so wild that like as athletes, we are the core of the sport and it wouldn't exist without us, but we don't see any of the profit or any of the, I guess, monetary gains from it. So it's like really amazing that NIL now allows for that. But what would your advice be for especially athletes coming through how they can build their NIL? Because really it has a lot to do with social media as well. And there's platforms and profiles. Do you have any words of wisdom for them?
I would say honestly, just like be your authentic self, kind of like see what your target audience is, and really just like play into that while like being your authentic self. You don't have to take every single deal that's offered to you. Like know your worth, know if people like, and you can like ask whatever resources that you have, if they are lowballing you and how to kind of get out of that as well. Just do honestly what feels right to you. Like I've with like scripts and stuff, like you just gotta you have to do what feels natural as well. So that comes with like talking to the brands and stuff about like what exactly you are okay with doing and what you're not okay with doing as well.
I'm actually going to do an episode on not NIL, but making social media a part of your career as an athlete. So I'll dive into it a little bit deeper. But I think that's the thing. One of the things you mentioned, like lowballing, it's what happens to like most athletes. Even just like I was talking to some athletes at World Championships who like amongst the best in the world, and they were talking about some brand deals they're getting, and they're like, "Yeah, we're getting free products." And I was like, "Baby, no, absolutely not. You like can be raking in money, sometimes like tens of thousands of dollars with these deals. Like some athletes, hundreds of thousands. Like you need to like know your worth. So I think like reiterating, like using those resources if you're at college, like talking to someone who knows the business and the money side of it is really important. But then also, yeah, I think authenticity, as you mentioned, is like really big. I think that's why, like, I mean, part of the reason you obviously incredibly like successful in your career and a world champion. But I think what a lot of people enjoyed about our dynamic was it was like real and it was relatable because we were just ourselves. And in a sport where that doesn't happen often, you're told to act in a certain way and be a bit of a robot. I think it was refreshing. So if any athletes are listening, just like, yeah, be yourself on social media, give everything a go, and realize that also every bit of content, every deal doesn't need to be 100% perfect. Like, see it as a day-to-day job. Like, not every day is going to be a perfect day in the office. So do the same. Okay, that's some good advice. Thanks for sharing. Next on the college agenda, you are involved in some initiatives and clubs. It's, as I said, hard to keep up. Do you want to tell everyone what they are and what you guys are doing?
So I'm a writer for Sparks Magazine, which I believe there's three chapters across Florida. It's all Asian American involved like magazine. We cover very broad range. Like I couldn't even like tell you like from point A to point B of like what we cover. It's super cool. I've been writing for it ever since my first semester here. It's super fun, and honestly, I always was like, oh, I don't want to do journalism. I don't like journalism. And then I signed up to write for this magazine. So, but it's so cool. We can kind of they have a list of topics that we can pick from to write about, or you can also pitch your own story, which is really cool. So like as long as you keep have a basis and it's like like goes it plays into like what the magazine like usually talks about and like its morals and such. They'll really accept it. Like the very first semester I was here, I actually pitched my own story and I wrote about the adoptees here at UF. So that was really cool to kind of like because it also gave me kind of an insight to the community as well, being like a first year. So yeah, I've been writing for that for I think I'm in my fourth semester now. Yeah, my fourth semester. Super fun. You work with a designer and photographer and an editor to create your spread. My spread this semester is actually so cool. Like my designer really like popped off with this one.
Work.
I wrote about how like tattoos have been seen as like a deviance thing kind of within the Asian American community, and they're turning into like a form of self expression. I thought that was like a really good story for me to write about. I'm also the director of the Jiating Lion and Dance Troupe, which so we do traditional and modern lion and dragon dancing. It so one of my friends who's actually like the co-founder of it, he graduated now and he went back home. I became friends with him through Sparks. He was also a writer, and in the fall semester, he was like, "Go dance lions, go dance lions." I was like, "I don't think I can dance lions. Like that was hard. I don't have the upper body strength for that. Like I don't think I can hold the head." But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna really push myself out of my comfort zone. So I did it, and oh my god, I instantly fell in love. It was so much fun. I loved it. It challenged me in a lot of different ways that like a lot of different physical and mental ways that gymnastics hasn't, as well as like it kind of plays into more of like a teamwork aspect because you are like working like directly with another person in order to like make a great performance. So like I did, God, I think I had like 4 or 5 performances last year, and then I coerced two because I also made like my greatest friends in college through that as well, and I coerced two of my other friends to become co-directors with me for this semester for this school year. And so we're co-directors and we're in charge of all things internal performances wise. So we choreograph the different ASU, the Asian American Student Union's umbrella orgs, and if they want to do lines, then we choreograph those shows. So me and my friend Kiana just choreographed Casa's Mid Autumn, and then our other co-director Katie choreographed the Vietnamese student organization's Triple T, and then so we'll have more shows in the spring as well. And then we have one more director too, who's like doing an internship in DC right now, but he also helped me co-choreograph the Asian American Student Assembly, which is like the big Asian American Union's show in the beginning of the semester. And then I'm also the videographer for the Chinese American Student Association. I actually wasn't gonna go out for this position because I was like, I'm already doing enough. I don't want to do it anymore. But then my friends who I also got to be directors with me, they were like, come be on board with us. It'll be so much fun. We can all be in costume together. I was like, fine. So I went out for videographer because like that's something I really enjoy doing. And it actually really pushed me to go and buy a really proper camera. So I have a Sony Alpha A7 III now. Because I've been talking about buying, you know this, I've been talking about buying a
Yeah.
camera for how many years, and I'm like, I never do it. And I finally have a really nice camera. I love my camera. It's like my baby. And I learned how to use Premiere Pro, not CapCut. And I
Hey,
quiet.
CapCut's actually pretty good though. Like,
CapCut is so good. It's easy to use, and I can do it on my phone. I still make my ads on there, so I still use CapCut sometimes. But it's so much fun. I go to like all of our CASA events. I'm also required to be there as an officer, but I just like I film. I make fun little videos. I film like all of CASA dances, showcase videos. I'm making recap videos. I'm behind on making the mid autumn recap video right now. Um, I make fun little promotional videos. I made such a silly one for mid autumn. It was so funny. But it's honestly just so much fun. I love it.
I don't know how you're alive. I'm exhausted just listening to you tell me that.
I'm not gonna lie, being an English major is really easy, so that kind of helps.
No, it actually looks like you're thriving in those like initiatives and organizations. For you, how important has it been to have those deliberately curated spaces for representation and diversity?
It's been such like a pivotal and important part of my life. Like if you've seen like Inside Out, you know how like they have like the core memories, like the islands. Like these are my islands basically for this chapter in my life because growing up especially like in a predominantly white community, a white family, being an adoptee who was never exposed to whatsoever to my own culture, like never educated on it as a child. I always was just like, I don't fit in anywhere. Like I was always really uncomfortable, like even like being with my family. The gym wasn't like terrible, honestly. Like my gym is pretty diverse, and in the era that I was with Elite, it was actually like fairly diverse. But it still is just like I'm not really like Asian enough. Like I don't belong within the API community like whatsoever. Like it didn't feel like my community. So like being able to come here, I was really nervous at first to like join CASA just because I was like, "Ah, God, I'm not like Chinese enough. Like but everyone here is just like so accepting. Like they don't care who you are. Like we are very like our organization is still very diverse, even though we are kind of like Asian centered. We're not like Asian exclusive or anything. So like anyone can join. But it's just been so much fun. And like line dancing has really gotten me to feel closer like with my culture and make me feel like I belong as well as like the people around me. And it's been great. It's like a weight off my chest every time like I hang out with any of them.
Oh, that's actually really beautiful. I'm so glad to hear. It sounds like it's yeah been such a pivotal and positive experience. So I'm really glad that you've had that. Okay, so in I guess 2019 to 2021, towards the end of your elite career, you were quite vocal online about a lot of advocacy topics and issues. That then was quite unusual for gymnasts, and I feel like even now it's still like it's not common. Even like when I talk about like queer rights, I still feel like I'm the only one doing it in the gymnastics world, and like I often don't see many other advocacy issues being brought to the platform. So how was your experience with that while trying to be a competitive athlete as well? Because I think that's something people underestimate is the exposure to things that gets you like negative as well as positive, but it's like a whole nother factor into the career. So how was that for you? And I think how has that helped you as well um, kind of form your comfortability in advocacy, not just online but offline as well?
Yeah, so I've been really fortunate that I've been able to grow up in an environment in my gym where I'm allowed to have opinions and I'm allowed to say things. Like that was kind of like my whole relationship with Slava and Brooke that I was like allowed to like speak up for myself and like me and Slava we push each other's buttons. Sometimes I did it on purpose, but so I feel like that kind of really helped. But like when deciding whether I really wanted to voice my real opinions online for people to see, it was at first a little like scary because I had to think about how this would affect my position on teams. What other like I even had this conversation with Saba when I was like, how will this like affect me? Like how will it like how will other people like kind of like look at it? Like I want people to look at me just for my gymnastics, but then I want people to look at the other me as a person, and like be able to like kind of separate the two. But ultimately I was just like, you know what, gymnastics ends. This I hope it ends, but it's not going to, and I feel like it's so much more important to be a person than a gymnast.
Yeah, it was just very cool to have you be speaking up on those issues. That yeah, as I said, such a time when it was so uncommon. And I think also you were very foundational to helping me find my voice as well. So thank you for that too. Speaking of gymnastics being over, plans for the future. What does non-gymnastics Morgan Hurd look like in say 10 years? Do you have a plan yet?
God, I honestly have like zero idea. Um, I'm an English major. Why did I choose English? I don't even know. It's easy, I guess. I'm gonna be really for real. Like I have nothing else interested me. And so I have looked into like publishing maybe. I was gonna try to get an internship this year. But a lot was going on in my life at the time and I missed the deadline for the application. But it's fine, it's okay. Yeah, so I honestly, like, I have no idea, but I feel like that's one of the cool parts about English is that it can kinda be a stepping stone into, like, a lot of different things, and I think it helps that I am doing a lot of different things in college so that no one can, like, put me in a box of, like, "This is all you've ever done, so that's all so you can't do anything else now." Whereas, like, I'm dipping my toes in a bunch of different things, so, like, I can have that, like, on my resume and stuff. But, yeah, I have no idea. I would love to move to New York City. For what? I don't really know. But also, my boyfriend's gonna be entering med school next year, so we'll also see if that takes me somewhere too.
You know what? And like that's valid because I mean I was the one that asked the question, but I've been getting that question a lot as well, especially after Worlds when I was there for like journalism. They're like, "What are you gonna do after gymnastics?" And I'm like, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
God, I don't know. Let me worry about when I'm done gymnastics.
I think also because like we've had our lives planned out for us from like 8 years old, right? Like we knew
Right,
what we're doing
yeah.
every single year, all the way up until like an Olympic cycle 12 years away. Like
Mhm.
I think it's kind of nice just to like sit in the present and be like, I'm gonna see what I like and what I don't like, and then I will figure it out from there.
Right. Like, if I'm in a harrowing situation where, like, I need to get my life together, I'll get my life together. But I'm in a comfortable situation, and I'm so grateful for that, that I can just kinda see how things are gonna play out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're about to go into our little rapid five questions to wrap up, but I do have like one more quick topic question I want to ask, kind of circling back to the diversity and everything within sport. How do I word it? Okay. I mean, okay, so for example, NCAA, I feel like we're seeing a lot more facilitated. What am I trying to say? Facilitation. That's a word, right?
Yeah, but keep going
Okay,
with your
we're
sentence to see if you're using it
yeah.
correctly.
Anyway, we're seeing I think I think we're seeing a lot more diverse thinking, opinions, personality, demographics facilitated at NCAA compared to elite. I mean, obviously elite we've had a lot of history makers this year, like we had an all black podium at the world championships and all around. So I think naturally we're seeing more diversity because of the athletes' achievements. But I still feel like it lacks that space for the athletes' personality and voices as much. What do you think the difference is with elite and NCAA, and what do you think elite can learn from it?
I think the biggest difference is life experience, in all honesty. Because as elite, that's all you do. All you do is gymnastics. Most people are homeschooled, or even if they're not, like you're around a bunch of 17 to 18-year-olds who have yet to be developed, yet to go out, see the world, talk to a bunch of different people. Whereas I think like with college, you know, especially if like you don't stay within kind of the world of athletics, but even if you do just stay within the world of athletics, people are coming from all over the country or even like all over the world. They have so many different experiences, especially being in different sports, different areas of their life. So I feel like that's what really helps you grow is the people that you surround yourself with. And I'm not saying this is at the fall of any elite gymnast because I mean I was guilty of it too, but that's elite gymnastics is all you know. You know that everything that you do will somehow translate into your gymnastics. So that's all you ever think of. So you don't even have the opportunities to be able to grow. I don't think it's at the fault of any of the elite gymnastics world. I mean, there are definitely faults within federations because federations do try to keep every little gymnast in their tiny little perfect box.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, do you think it's then somewhat on the federation's responsibilities to encourage that unique thinking and individuality from their athletes?
I definitely think it is. I feel like federations could do a better job of having a more unified front with each other versus just being competitors where um maybe they should be like, especially at international meets, they should be organizing more opportunities after the meet for gymnasts to be able to like converse with each other, because I feel like that's what's really lacking. Like you have that one really big after party at Worlds, but it's so awkward. Like people are
Bro,
kind
it's
of
so
dancing,
awkward.
kind of not. You have like fresh 16-year-olds with 35-year-olds. It's just like that's not a good setting to really like form bonds and friendships. I feel like it needs to be more of like a little cute little like brunch kind of thing.
Yeah, and then there's like coaches and judges around. I think people I saw on Twitter when bro, I saw on Twitter when the World's After Party was just happening, and people were like, I would kill to be a fly on a wall, and I'm like, you wouldn't, because it's like it's like elementary school disco, because there's like, oh, it's so awkward, the little dance circles everyone tries to start, and then there's always that one guy that does like a back salt in the middle, and it's like, babe, we can all do back salts. It's just it's the most awkward thing. No, like I love it because it's like fun at the same time, but like it's quite awkward. So yeah, maybe you're right about having a little brunch. A little brunch would be quite cute.
A little brunch would be really good because I feel like, you need to talk to people from like that have different experiences from you. And people find ways to get around the language barrier. Like you find like everyone is so creative that we find our ways. So I don't feel like that would even like really be a problem, but it only needs to be like so like for a lot of the student orgs, you do like little icebreakers where you have to like they put you into groups. So it's almost like it needs to be like that. So that like, like even like you can't stick with the people that you're comfortable with. You're forced to like go and explore. But I feel like
I
that would be
like
such a good
that.
idea. And I feel like it would promote like a lot of growth and like a lot just like of like gymnastics becoming one versus just like everyone.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that
Let's
idea.
let's get big on the phone. I gotta propose this.
Yeah, or if you guys are listening, you know what to do. Write it down. Take
Yeah,
notes.
exactly.
Um,
At Fig
okay.
right now on Twitter.
Yeah. I'll get my phone out. Okay, we're going on to like our 5 rapid questions to finish this podcast episode. First one is, when are we seeing each other next?
Oh God, I hope soon.
Do you want to come to Europe or should I come to the US?
Yes. Oh my God.
Why don't you come to
Ew, you don't want
Europe?
to. You don't want to come to the U.S. I can't come until the
I
summer.
want to do New York. I want to do New York.
Oh, okay. Come to New York, and then we can go to
Okay, all right. So we're gonna have to organize I come to Europe and New York, or like after
Europe.
Paris next year, I'm gonna take some time off. So maybe you come to Australia, I'll see the beaches. I don't know, but
So
I think we need to
good. Oh,
see each other in the next 12 months because it's been 5 years.
yeah. Oh my God, that's disgusting. I have school after Paris.
I'm supposed to as well.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not doing it. Um,
College dropout. You heard it here first.
Okay, also, I know I just said I capped the questions at 2 minutes, but I just want to remind everyone that we had tickets booked for you to come and see me in
Ugh.
Amsterdam 2021. The day, like 2 days before you come,
The tickets were $500 too. They were so cheap.
so cheap. Morgan was ready to hop on the flight. We had hotels, but we had everything organized. It was going to be the most fab, like, reunion, yeah. And I got COVID. Morgan had to cancel the flights.
He called me. I'm like on the tour bus because I was still on tour at this time. I'm like, no, you're joking. Like, there's no way. I'm like, okay, well, should I still go to Amsterdam by myself?
I told you, I was like, go, do it. But also, like,
No, that's scary. No, because you're supposed to stay with your friends or something. We didn't even have a real place to stay. I was like, I'm
bro,
not
the
going that
thing
by
is, like,
myself.
I could have also like probably not even had to be in isolated because like the rules were so confusing at the time, and there was like no way to contact this was in Germany. There was no way to contact like the German hotline. I was testing negative by the time you were supposed to come over, so we need to redeem that. Okay, we can do an Amsterdam trip. All right. Next question. Current read. Are you still a bookworm?
I am, but I have no time to read. If I'm not at gym, I'm doing schoolwork. If I'm not doing schoolwork, I'm editing videos. If I'm not editing videos, I'm editing photos. If I'm not doing that, I'm dancing on top of a parking garage. So I haven't
Okay,
really had time.
so Morgan is reading Life. That's what she's currently reading. Life. Um, Alrighty. I I'm gonna give you your fave memory of us. I mean, not that we have that many in-person memories in
I
comparison
know,
to,
that's what I'm
like,
saying. I'm like, sorry, but I don't.
online.
Oh, no. It was us at the Pack Rooms after party, and everyone kept asking if you were my boyfriend.
Yes.
I was like, "No, he's gay."
Yeah, he's very gay.
I'm like, "Can you not tell?" He's like, his ass is on the
No.
floor. He's dropping it every 5 seconds.
It's always on the floor. Yeah, he's gay. Um, my favorite memory was probably okay, do you remember it was at Pac Rim as well, but we all met on the rooftop, like, secretly because we didn't want USHE to find out, and I didn't want my federation to find out as well. So I'm like, okay, I tell one of my coaches, I'm like, I'm going to the shop. Anyway, I'm like sprinting to your hotel. I get stopped by this man.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
in Colombia.
You weren't even at the same hotel as me. I
I wasn't at the
forgot.
same hotel. We go to Colombia. We're in Colombia. I get stopped by this man, and I'm trying to like politely tell him I don't want to buy what he's selling. He gets so mad. He starts chasing me. So I'm sprinting. Like I'm like 17. I'm running to your hotel. Anyway, we get up the top, and then like it's just the most awkward meeting of everyone. This is the first time we'd ever seen each other in person, and it was like
It didn't help we were,
me.
like, with a group too.
It was like Suni, Grace, Justin, me, Asha, baby Asha, Jordan Bowers,
TV Asher, oh my
baby
god.
Asha, whole crew. But yeah, I almost got jumped in Colombia trying to sneak to your guys' hotel. And the funny thing is, like, if the USAG like staff saw me walking into the hotel, their minds probably would have gone completely wrong. And
I would have been murdered.
yeah, like, and we were
A
just like wanting to,
a male just walked in.
yeah, and we were just
I
like
would have
wanting
been
to
murdered.
awkwardly, I don't know, talk on the rooftop in a group of like seven. Oh, bless us, bless our little
That was
souls.
so funny.
Okay. Someone asked how often do you refer to yourself as a world champion? And if it's not daily, then they need to do it for you.
I never do. I think I do, like, not like, sometimes when I give introductions, like, for, like, ads and stuff, but, like, on a daily basis, yeah, no, like, if I'm meeting someone new, I don't even mention that I'm a gymnast. Like, I think all of my friends found like, everyone that I am friends with, they found out through, like, a third party. They don't find out from me. They find out from someone else, and then they come up to me, like, they're like, "You didn't tell me you're famous." I was like, "Why would I tell you that?"
Bro, that's also the worst thing when someone says that, and it's like, don't use the F word. Don't use it. It's weird. It makes me uncomfortable.
I'm like, "No, I'm not," and they're like, "You're verified." I'm like, "Okay, so it's okay. Like, you can
It
buy
doesn't
that
matter.
now. It's fine."
Valid. I mean, like, do you like acknowledge that you like were the best in the world at one point, like the best in the world?
Sometimes, like, if, like, my closer friends, when they're asking about gymnastics, kind of, sometimes I'm like, "Yeah, I used to be so freaking good, bro." Like, I was actually the
Goaded,
best. Like,
goaded.
I
Yeah.
was cracked when I was younger, and now I'm not. But when I was younger, I was. So, like, I'll, like, refer to it in that sense, but not, like, commonly.
Cool. Okay, and this is for both of us. You're gonna go first. But
Uh,
biggest advice for your younger self.
oh god. I would say I would say to stop taking things so seriously. Nothing is that serious. Life is going to happen whether you want it or not, and you can only do and control what is within your control, but you can't control outside factors. So stop worrying about them.
Nice. I like that. Now I have to think of a better answer.
I was gonna say maybe I should have gone first by your face.
Far out.
Your face was giving me
Okay.
stop talking, stop talking.
No, I think my advice, and it's still my advice to myself, is I think not everything is like a gymnastics competition. When you're an elite athlete, you have the mindset that everything needs to be perfect and needs to be accurate. And it's just like not the case. Like, we're going to always make mistakes every single day. And it's the only way you can grow. So remove yourself from that like mindset that you need to judge yourself, because it isn't something to be judged. You're just like, I don't know, you're growing as a person. So let yourself be wrong, let yourself fall over, and yeah, learn from those errors. That's my advice.
That was so good.
Okay, I feel like that's like a perfect way to wrap up. I'm surprised we kept it within an hour. I think we did
That
well.
is impressive. Yeah, I feel like there wasn't that many questions though, so I feel like that's fine.
Yeah, the way we just like kept talking from like 5 questions. But no. Thank you for being my first guest. It was actually a
Thank
pleasure.
you for letting me be your first guest. I'm not gonna lie, I would have been offended if I wasn't your first guest. Sorry.
Yeah, and I don't blame you.
I would have been a little hurt. I would have been a little hurt, just a little bit though. I would have gotten over it, but I would have been a little hurt.
Where can listeners watch you or follow you or whatever it is over the next couple months or year?
I am the most active on Instagram at Morgie Hurd. I'm on Twitter sometimes. I think I don't know my Twitter username. Is it also Morgie Hurd? It might be. I don't know. Just like a Morgan Hurd. I have a profile picture. TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I don't really post much on TikTok. I think it's mostly ads right now, honestly. But yeah, and don't forget to watch Gators Gym this season too.
And when does season start?
Season starts January. Don't ask me the date. I don't know anything.
Okay,
I just
January.
show up.
Keep your eyes peeled.
January.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, thank you on behalf of everyone, Morgan, for coming on. Yeah, as I said, forever proud of you and love you lots.
Thanks. Love you, Heath.
See you next time. Bye.